This simple game is meant to exemplify a part of our research project, which is looking at how do you make the optimal behavioral investments, optimal defense investments in protecting an interdependent distributed system. And here we are taking into account the different behavioral biases that people have when they are making decisions that have to deal with risks and losses or benefits and gains. So here we have a simple system represented as an attack graph where you have the leftmost node is the starting point for an adversary, and then the adversary can take various paths in order to reach, two paths in this case, in order to reach the end goal, the crown jewel that the defender is wanting to protect. And let's say that the defender has 10 defense units in each round to allocate across the 5 edges that are there in this network. So here you see that the table beneath shows that as the number of defense units which are allocated to an edge increases, the probability of successful defense on that edge also increases. However, even if you allocate all 10 of your defense units onto an edge, the probability of successful defense is only 0.65. It's not 1. So there is a non-zero probability of an attack succeeding on that edge. So let's go ahead and allocate our defense budget across the different edges. And for the first one, let's do this equitably, the same allocation on each of the 5 edges. And then when we triggered the game, we will see if the attack succeeded or not. The attacker is always going to take the path of least resistance and the least protected path. So in this case, the end node is a green, which means that the defense succeeded, and the annotation on top of each edge shows what's going on in there. So on the upper path, going from the first node to the second node, the attack did not succeed, and hence that node is a green. The probability of successful defense on that edge was only 0.19, but even there, stochastically in this case, it so happened that the attack did not succeed. So overall, the defense investment was successful in this case. Let's go on to the next round. Here, let's say we put all of our eggs in one basket, the final edge. So we allocate a total of the entire defense allocation of 10 units on that one and see how that goes. Oops, in this case we lost. We were not able to protect that end node. So even though that final edge has a probability of successful defense of 0.65, it so turned out that the attacker took the upper path and the first two nodes were easy pickings. There were no defense on those edges. But on the final edge, the attacker did succeed in this case. So this kind of gamification helps us understand what kinds of cognitive biases defenders, security administrators, security owners would have as they make defense investments. We can also set this up, as we have done this, as a convex optimization problem and solve the convex optimization problem once when there is no bias and once under different degrees of cognitive bias. In this specific network, it turns out that with no bias, perfectly rational behavior, all the defense investment would go on that final edge, which we did in this case, but it shows that that because of the stochasticity of the system is not guaranteed to succeed in all cases.